My name is April Gordon, and I'm the host of the Lotus Talks Live podcast. And I have the pleasure of interviewing one of our featured speakers at the Lotus Talks Live, Miss Shanedria Wagner.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. And thank you so much for not only agreeing to this interview, but also to agreeing to being one of the featured speakers at the inaugural The Lotus Talks Live. So once again, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Shanedria, can you tell us a little bit about your journey as an educational consultant and teacher of English, French, and Spanish?
Prior to becoming an educational consultant, I taught French and Spanish at the secondary level, and then I taught bilingual education at my old elementary school that I actually attended as a child. After being Teacher of the Year, 3 of the 5 years I taught, and creating a multitude of resources, bilingual resources, I had the opportunity to become a consultant. I wasn't looking to do it, but I had some really great experiences traveling and training teachers and doing workshops and seminars, large seminars for children. And so people who were already consulting said to me, you should be a consultant. I said, what's that? So I literally went to a conference in San Diego, California, presented, and was booked in 3 states after that presentation, and then just word of mouth, and had a great support system. I had a great experienced consultants who are willing to pour into me. So
that is outstanding. And where does the trilingual education come into play for you? Because I know that you speak Spanish, French, and English fluently, as well as teach Spanish and French.
Oui. J'ai commencé à parler français quand j'avais 12 ans. So I started speaking French when I was 12 years old, and 8th grade at Lanier Middle School Vanguard. I had a great teacher. I wanted to take Spanish, but the class was full, so I took French. Fell in love with it. I went to Lamar High School for Business Professions. I was also an IB student, so I had 2 wonderful, phenomenal teachers. One is Yvette Michel Dijon, who was chocolate like me. People thought she was my mama, and she taught me to be more mature about that language approach, but she emphasized oral and written proficiency. So she would record our voices, let our parents hear us talking. So because of the emphasis on oral proficiency and the excellent second teacher I had, the late Chantal Bessali, who was from Annecy, France, who taught me in 10th, 11th, and part of my senior year, I was able to develop fluency in French prior to even graduating high school.
Wow.
And so that was the quality education I received in the Houston Independent School District. So Madame Dijon told me not to major just in French in college. She said, do a double major. So I majored in French and speech, and then took a minor in Spanish. I wasn't really fluent in Spanish. I was fluent in French. I studied in France at the University of Caen in Normandy in 1992. And upon my return, moved in with a couple from Mexico in College Station. I bonded with Rosie Alvarez, who used to clean the dorms. We became very close. And so she used to rent rooms out to A&M students. So my senior year, I lived with a couple from Mexico, and it is where I learned about bilingual I learned about the plight of bilingual Spanish speakers from Mexico in particular in this country, and how as a child, Rosie was not allowed to speak Spanish in school. So she could not even read and write Spanish, but I could. I'd go out to eat with them. I'd go to family gatherings. And so it was there, living with Rosie and Fred, that I developed my fluency in Spanish. And so that's pretty much how the trilingualism came to be, living among natives, learning the plight of native speakers, and then starting my teaching career. And was hired as a French teacher, but I was given Spanish 6 weeks into the semester. And I had to learn Spanish as well as I knew French. I studied every night, so the studying never stopped. My heart fills with joy, and I think about the blessings bilingual education and the parents have given me. My life was forever changed by language. And that's why I'm so enthusiastic about learning language. And if I can do it at 21, if I can learn Spanish at 21 and learn French at 12, anyone can do it.
You wear many hats. Today you wear what I call a raspberry beret. You know, she wore a raspberry beret.
The kind you find on the Amazon store.
So I'm glad that you said that, because you're not only a speaker, you're an author, and you're a comedian.
Oui. I'm very funny. I have different personalities living in my head. I'm telling you. I have Puerto Rican person. Her name is Lupita. She looks like me. And she's from Puerto Rico. And I have a character who speaks French, who has an accent, who talks English. And they make mistakes when they speak English, these characters. And so I think it's important to embrace your errors. I use pain to make people laugh.
Okay. Tell me more about that.
So comedy is something that I discovered I could do for the first time, I think, when I was the director of the Miss Texas A&M Scholarship Pageant, because I was afforded the opportunity to MC the pageant as well. And so when I MC'd the pageant, I had written the script in advance, but for some reason, I had this knack of thinking on my feet and making the audience laugh. And it was there on the stage at Rudder Auditorium that I said, you know what, you're pretty funny. You're making your fellow Aggies crack up, and it's not anything that you wrote in advance. You're just doing it, And then when I started teaching, I became different people. When I started to teach in the classroom, I didn't want to be boring. So I changed my accent in the middle of the class lesson, and my children were like, "Me really, you're funny. Me really, you're funny." So the kids told me, "You're funny, miss. You're funny, miss." So I kind of got a little encouragement from them. And then I started secretly writing comedy. I started in my first novel. I made it comedic in nature. Both of my novels are pretty comedic on purpose. Mm-hmm. And then I was secretly writing comedy and told no one.
Mm-hmm. Why was
for
it
10
secret?
years. I think it was because I was so, consumed by my career as a consultant. It's a 24/7 kind of job. Mm-hmm. But because I wasn't in schools every day anymore, I would work literally every December. I would take off. I never really worked in December. Mm-hmm. When I started my business, I would take off December to rest and write. Reading, resting, and writing is a lot of what I did. So I said, you know what? You're writing this stuff. It's funny, but you're not ready to do it on the stage yet. Just keep it a secret. Just keep it make it your secret. Be funny with people. Let them tell you how funny you are. I would try out jokes on people. They wouldn't even know. They wouldn't not even know I was trying out jokes on them. And then my mom's mom got cancer. Her cancer came back after 35 years, about 11 years ago. And I said, you know what? This is too much. I have lost people. And I said, what's on your bucket list? I'm an edutainer. Roll all those together.
That's what I wanted to understand. How does it all come together?
Well, let me tell you, baby, because see, the way we used to teach in the school when you would stand in front of the class and talk to the chairman.
That doesn't work anymore. Children are immersed in technology. They want to be engaged, stimulated. So I tend to, again, go in and out of characters when I'm teaching. Grandma emerged if I saw an inattentive child. Children relate to grandma, big mama, my dear.
Mm-hmm. So I would just go my dear on them and say, baby, did you hear what I said?
And they would just hop
Yes,
up and go, yes, ma'am. And so children absolutely love grandma.
How does grandma show up? You have a show. And I'd love for the audience to know more about
So
the show.
what I do on my show is I begin with an allusion to the Superman. You see the sky, and you see the cloud, and you hear a voice, and the voice says, "Look, up in the sky, it's a bird."
Not a bird, but a verb. And the verb spelled out in clouds, the verb spells read.
It's a bird.
It's a cane, not a plane, but a cane. You see her cane? And then her cane has a dictionary as a propeller. And it's propelling her. And then you see me flying in the air. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a cane. Wait, is that a dictionary?
It's grandma, baby.
And you see the grammar. And it's grammar spelled Grammer. And I knock it down with my cane, and the A emerges so that grammar is spelled correctly, because she tells him. And then she tells him, get off your Instagram and learn some instant grammar. So grandma's not playing.
No, she's not. And I must admit, I've watched several episodes and I've learned something.
You like my show?
I love your show. And I've shared your show. And I think it's so important because you do, as you say, edutain.
Yes, absolutely.